Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This time we go about setting up our project. Before we do that, we make some choices regarding the technology we want to use. I will just use the term architecture to write them down. First of all, we will use C++ as a programming language. Second of all, we use SSH as the protocol to communicate from our client to the server. The reason is there are alternatives, like for example web requests. But I want to have it really secure and really with low overhead. And in the past, I made really good experience with SSH on those two terms. So yeah, that's the thing we're doing. C++ I'm using because I'm really bad at it. I want to get a little better. And also because for like native Windows console applications that can be delivered as binary somewhere, this seems like the natural choice. I'm not yet sure how we get the whole SSH thing from a C++ program to go, because I never did that before, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, what else? We will use a syntax checker. This is some part of code I plan to do, so we do not send, so not to like pipe the raw input. Because there are some engines that are really big and have really a lot of source code, and like the Stockfish thing, it's an open source thing but done by a big team. So I don't want to spend time and effort in checking it over and over again with every new release if there are any bugs regarding unsafe user input. And some of the engines are commercial anyway, so like Commodore or Houdini, and I do not have the source code, so I have to trust the provider, and I don't do that. So we have to trust no one if we just check for syntax and only accept valid UCI input and pipe that forward and discard all other messages. The next thing is that I want to do is, besides SSH, I want an option. And that option is that my thing invokes a local instance. The reason I want to do this is it makes for easier testing, and also it makes the tool a little more useful. You can use it on a server as an additional security, like a chess firewall that invokes the local UCI engine, adds a little more latency this way, I imagine, but then has this cool option of filtering the input. So to gain additional security, and also like have a special configuration where you have a database of configurations. So you can invoke the chess engine and set it up with a defined set of options, and the configuration game in the Fritz graphical user interface program is not really that nice. So maybe we have some more options on that path. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go to the workspace. Yeah, I just before we started, I just set up a Visual Studio project that I will delete now for two reasons. The first, oh, it's still open. The first reason is, yeah, I don't care. No, I do care. We don't want to save for changes. The first reason is that I want to show you guys, and the second reason is that I picked the wrong subfolder. Sometimes Windows is really okay. Now it allows me to delete it. Here I want to have, for the implementation, I want to have a subfolder. yeah, yeah, let's call it the same thing. Like this. I don't want to have the plan and all the Visual Studio files on the top level. I want that Visual Studio is in its own small, nice folder, and only things directly related to the Visual Studio project are in that folder. Okay. Then let's go. We make a new project. We make it a Win32 console application. We call it chess tunnel. And it's in workspace chess tunnel. And yes, please make a folder. And now it should make a folder inside the folder. And they have both the same name. Yes, we want an empty project. The reason why I want an empty project is it's easier adding things later than removing things from a machine-generated configuration, in my experience. Yeah, then we add our first source file. I imagine chess-tunnel.ccp is CPP is the right thing, and then like this. I never know when to use. Okay, I'm really not good with C++. So the first thing you should do when doing C++, you should really learn. Let's write a comment here. Learn when to use, and include style like this, or okay. It depends if you are including a local header file. It depends on if you're including something that is like part of the standard library. It depends on if you're using C or C++, etc. And I think for my project, then for the things I want to do, I think this is the right way to do. Okay, then. No, it's not. Yeah, let's find out. Let's type our method, and if it still complains after I defined my first method, then we probably got it wrong. Okay, this is learning by doing. And then we do it like in old style and not using the output stream. And yeah, this is a very clear indication that we need to do it like this. Okay. Let's run it and try to find out if you manage to fuck up with like a single line of code. But it looks good. Okay, let's open a console, because this went too fast. I should now query for like input so that the window stays open or something like this. But instead, I would just launch a console. Yeah, looks fine, doesn't it? Okay. Now let's expand it a little bit. The first thing I want to do is taking basically taking line input until infinity, eternity. So I think we need input streams for this. Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, I don't really know why I have to use the .h file extension for standard I/O, but I couldn't just include I/O stream without. Yeah, we will never know. This, as I said, I'm not the biggest C++ guy. So let's go on. Okay. When I will just start hands-on. This is, I think, a way to make a loop that runs forever, which is exactly what I intend to do. Now we use input. I think I/O stream has like this. Okay, the autocomplete does not give me this. The reason is it's part of the standard library. So I could do it like this. Curious. Okay, this is part of string. Well, apparently. And then we write that to some variable input line, and the input line is, let's define it. Let's declare it, not define it, or like both. Okay, input line is like this. And if this is really just to make, I think I will have to remove it later, because creating a termination of the process, I always like to catch external signals that are sent to the program and use that for termination. For example, like Control-C or Control-X or Control-D or all the different things you can send to a running Windows console process. But this is a little complicated. So I will just ask at the beginning of the loop if a queue was sent to it. Of course, the chess graphical user interface will never send a queue, and I will have to look up what terminates the process later according to the UCI specification, and then send that to the server and then terminate this process. But for now it's queue. When we get a queue, we break the queue. Sounds fitting, doesn't it? So let's run it, and now the window should stay open until it gets a queue, and then it terminates. Very nice. Okay, so let's do a short Google, shall we? And I think a good Google is to find out SSH library Windows. Okay, I did this before. You know, the thing is purple, and I found this, and I think this is the right thing to do. I did not download it before, and here it says a Windows this installer, and I have no idea what this is. And zip archives, I do know what those are. of the latest version can be found here, and then we look at it, and then we see for the latest version that we don't see any Windows stuff, but for the almost latest version from September 2015 we see a exe file and we see a zip file for Visual Studio. I always prefer zip files over exe files, and so does my antivirus program. So let's zip it. Let's extract it. In this case, yeah, this is the typical layout in such a system. We have a bin folder where there's a DLL file. You need that DLL file for like okay, there are two ways to link external libraries into your program. The first is dynamically and the second is statically. Statically means all the code of the library is also inside your executable. And the second thing is you tell your program that the code for the library is somewhere on the system. And the second thing has the disadvantage that the user has to install the library before being able to run your program. And the first thing has the disadvantage that if the library is GPL, your program also has to be GPL, and you have to publish all the source codes and meet all the license. And then the projects that derive from your project also have to be GPL. And so if you do not want to program communism, no, I'm joking. If you have the slightest hint that you want to use it commercially at some point in time in the future, and also if you're really ashamed of your source code, which I probably am because C++, then you maybe do not want to have GPL code. I'm a big proponent of open source projects, but I'm not so happy with GPL. So I don't know if libssh is GPL or not, and I don't really care, but I tend to go for linking dynamically, also to keep my executable small. Yeah, so that would mean we need this in our project folder in order to run a non-debug version of it. For the debug version and for like development, this is the library in a format where you this is a library. This is the thing that could also be linked to your project and then be part of your executable. So if you link statically, then it will use this to make it part of your executable. And these are the header files. These are basically the declarations, what functions are to be expected in the library, in the .lib or .dll file. Okay, and this is some CMake, but I do not really see source code, like the big C source code, because going by, oh, maybe this is not just headers and it's only a .h file, and all this implementation is already also in there. Let's have a look. Ah, no, this is way too small. I thought 33 kilobyte would be enough, but no, apparently not. Okay, so there is, the source code is not included. This is a binary release of libssh. So let's switch over to our chest tunnel folder, and here we have the Visual Studio Projektmappe. I don't know what Projektmappe means, but this is a level above the project. This is the project. So inside the project, let's create a folder for bin. This is where all our DLLs go of libraries that we intend to link dynamically. Then we make an ordner lib. Same thing. This is where all the .lib or other objects go that come from external sources. And then we make a folder. We call it include. And now in each folder we make a libssh, and then we take this thing and put it there. And then we go for the include and take this thing and put it there. And then we go for the lib, take this thing and put it there. Okay, now we're all set. No, we're not nearly set up. Let's delete that from our downloads, but because I don't think we will need it anymore. So now let's go into Visual Studio. Ideally, I would like to do something like include and it lets me. This is curious, but not really, right? No, not really. It can't open it. And now, yeah, it will still run because I'm not using the program, but now it marks it in the code because it cannot find it. The reason for this is we need to tell our project where to find stuff. I tend to run only on the 32-bit platform for this project, so, and for all configurations, I need to tell the linker something like here. Okay, project dir, and then, so this is for libraries, and libraries was in our lib folder, and here in like, I don't know if all subfolders are included and searched as well. Let's add it explicitly. We can, when more folders are added later, then we can try to find some kind of wildcard so it looks into all subfolders, but I don't want to bother with it right now. So for input, we need to say our dependencies, so lib ssh.lib. I think it's only ssh.lib, the file name. And then we need to tell the, I think, yeah, in the include directories where we need to tell it the other thing, project there, this is where the header files are, and then include, and here we do not have to add, do I need a trailing? Some of them have a trailing semicolon, some of them don't. Okay, so I know it does no harm. So yeah, what I just was wondering if I need this trailing semicolon. Some of them have them, some of them don't, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm probably fine. Here I did not add the ssh lib ssh subfolder because I intend to specify it in the includes. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so it was able to find my include, but it was not able to find my library. So let's check that. Let's have a look how long the recording is running. Okay, 23 minutes. I intend to stay around half an hour for the videos, so we are almost done. Just tunnel, lib ssh.lib. Okay. Apparently I did something wrong. No, it's not called OpenSSH, and I did not put it in a subfolder, so it's just like this. Yeah, okay. Let's try it again. Ta-da! Okay. So what can we do? What can we do? Right now the program reads lines until it gets a queue. I did not really test this, so let's not send a queue. Okay, seems to go well. the next thing is that I want to do is send lines to a program on a machine that I'm connected to with SSH. So what we do is now we go into the libssh documentation, and there we go on the tutorial that we can find here. A typical SSH session, and then here creating the session, adding options, a small example how to use it, and then connecting to a server. And the good thing about this, or the bad thing about this, is they have always, it seems like, a complete example. Other documentation projects just show a few lines out of context and give you the opportunity to figure it out. This thing is very easy, but it's also very tempting to do just like this. So both approaches have their advantage. The documentation for the send framework on PHP, they are only posting like a single line when they post example code. And the reason is they do not want that all users of their framework create the project in the exact same fashion, because send framework is actually quite configurable, and because it says it's model view controller, it does not mean you have to do it that way. So you need to figure out your project structure by yourself, and if you want to add features, you should really figure out if you want them in your models or in your controllers or in your views or somewhere else in a helper class, etc. So they never post the slightest context. This is quite extreme, and here these simple examples are the opposite, because here you have a complete, almost complete context. It's not the main method in this example, but a main message for connection, a main method is right above. Okay, and as I said, the good thing about this, it makes it easy for the user. The bad thing about it, it makes it tempting to just copy paste. And then when there is a security related bug, for example, in this documentation, then all projects will have it, because everyone is just copy pasting. But if I do it myself, have a much higher likelihood of introducing a security related bug. So because I'm so bad, so I will take some code from them and just copy paste it. But I will try to do it like in a slow manner, so that I acquire the understanding that I'm lacking right now. So let's check the clock. Okay, we have a few minutes. The completed list of options can be blah, 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 blah. Here is a small example of how to use it. All assets, all servers that I have available at the moment are out of the box configured with quite high security standards. So we need to connect, we need to authenticate, and also we need to do key-based authentication. There are two different things, and let's put that in our concept. Key-based. And I don't think we can implement that in the remaining time on this session. So let's go with a basic example, and maybe I find a way to set up a server. Okay, the most important is an SSH session. So this is an object of the class my SSH session. Okay, actually, let's not do that. Let's talk a little bit about one other thing. You noticed this here. This means that I specified a namespace for string, and the namespace for getLine, and the namespace for cn. You can also do something like this. And I think for STD, it's a good idea. And I think it's a very bad idea for all other things. So for all other libraries, I really want to see in the code explicitly at that thing where it comes from. I think to assume that we are in STD is a reasonable assumption. And so let's remove that. We never figured it out. So this is homework for you guys to figure out why these two are different. I understand why this is different, because this is clearly a file that is in my local project folder. but I have not the slightest idea why these two are different. But okay, back to this topic. Using namespace std, this is just so to have some, to have everything a little cleaner and have not the optical noise, code noise, where you have a lot of statements that really don't do anything regarding the function of your program. And in order to reduce that, this is a good feature. There's this other programming paradigm that you have to do things explicitly and not implicitly, and not ask the user to know and keep a lot of things in mind. So I would never have here like 3 or 4 namespace statements, because then later when the code gets big and I scroll down, then I don't see them, and then I see a command and I would like to know where it comes from, and I have not really a good method to find out. I don't know what the IDE allows me nowadays. I have not worked with Visual Studio in quite some time, but if you're editing it with a text editor, you have no way to find out. Another thing I would like to mention is this here. Normally you would find the code like this. Some programming projects have the code convention that you have to do it like this. The reason is, when you are using an IDE, it does not really make much of a difference. But if you are using a text editor and you want to find certain function definitions over big files, then they are easier to find like this. Because if you know, because it's very easy to have a regular expression that checks if the function, the name of the function you are looking for, comes immediately after the beginning of the line. And so when you're doing like this, then this is the case. And all uses of the function have a very, very, very high, it's very unlikely that they start on the beginning of the line. So if you do not know the return, when at the time you're looking for it, of course for main you would know it, but let's say some arbitrary function name and you do not know the return value, and you do it like this, then you can do a grep on all of your files, and then you will immediately get a result, and you can immediately see where the function is defined. So it's a good idea to have it like this. Okay, now forgive me. We ended here. Let me make a short summary. What we did today. We set up Visual Studio. This, by the way, when you start Visual Studio the first time, will not work like this. It will show a bunch of error messages. Let me show you how to. I think it's extras, options, then debugging, and then symbols, and you have to tick this box. So this works. You only have to do it like once for the entire Visual Studio, so it's not project based. I forgot to tell you. This is something you have to do. Okay, we learned how to start a project in Visual Studio. We ran our little Hello World program. We added a library to our project. We figured out how to change the project settings so all the library files are in the correct places and found where they are. I rambled a little bit about using namespace std and about a small code convention. I will talk about other code conventions as they pop up and as they become relevant. I'm not 100% perfect, and I do a lot of stuff that is really not smart regarding code structure. But this, I think the things I do know about and I apply and use most of them are okay and should be done. You could argue about that. Okay. That's it. Thank you for watching, and next time we will do some. Next time we will try to get the whole SSH thing to work. So like connect to a server and take these input line strings and send them to the server over the SSH tunnel. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.